You want a badass truck that's got some luxury inside and has all the features you need? The Ford F-150 for 2019 does the job, and it's badass too.
Badass, yes. But if you want to be a baller, you need one of these.
I think we got a comparison, boys.
Want to drive mine first?
All right, fine. Let's go.
So the mighty Ram 1500 is back, Mr. Steve. And this one has shed weight equal to me, 225 pounds. And that's a lot.
You are a fat ass, but
I am.
not for this. So I give it to you. This is nicer than mine.
But look at this interior, man. This is a pickup truck. But look, plush materials everywhere, ashwood trim. Look at this screen, bigger than an iPad,
Yeah.
maybe even iPad Pro.
I like it. I know. Okay, I get it. I'll give it to you. I even like how they did the steering wheel, but I don't like this.
The ashwood trim on the wheel?
Yeah, they should have put it somewhere else. I
Wow.
mean, not on the wheel.
Where would you want it, Steve?
So how much is this thing?
Yeah, so that's the funny part. So this 2019 Ram 1500 limited with a big crew cab, whatever it's called, is 86,000.
What, how much?
86,000 Canadian dollars.
86,000 Canadian dollars?
But you know what it has? A very big screen and air suspension and a Hemi.
Did you say air suspension?
Mhm.
I love air suspension.
Yep. And the good thing about the air suspension is it has 5 levels of height you can set it to. You can do entry access. So basically if you want to like creep in a underground parking garage with limited clearance, you can just, do that.
You have a really low parking spot inside your place. Did it fit?
Here's a picture of it. It barely fit thanks to the entry access height thing. Otherwise it wouldn't have fit. Or
Yeah.
it would have came back with a cracked panoramic sunroof, which is really nice. That sunroof is amazing.
Mine's got one too.
It does, and it's also amazing. The other thing I want to say is that the screen, look at this infotainment. I mean, this took infotainment to the next level because it doesn't only look good, it actually works really well.
It reminds me of the actual iPad itself, now that you say it. You've got your little buttons across the top with all the functions. You've got all the climate control there. You've got all your basic functionality all on the screen, all within reach, and very simple to function.
And when you put CarPlay or Android Auto on, it just takes a part of that screen and you can still control main features of the vehicle, which is amazing because in other cars we complain that once you're in CarPlay, you need to completely get out of CarPlay to then control other things, which I hated. This one is amazing. So this thing obviously has taken a very different approach to trucks because it's now super luxurious. The Hemi, it's like super refined. It's like it went to like a savoir vivre seminar or something, and it's very quiet. Did you notice?
Savoir what?
Savoir vivre. It's like where you learn table manners and stuff like that.
I clearly have none of those, but you're right. It is much quieter.
Super quiet. 67 point something decibels is the noise level in the cabin, and that's like really quiet.
Did you measure it?
No, but I believe him because it is really quiet. It's very quiet until you turn on the Harman Kardon sound system.
My truck's got a Bang & Olufsen sound system, and it kicks this thing's ass.
Does it bang its Olufsen?
It'll bang your Olufsen. This thing's really nice to drive. The steering's nice and light. It's more luxurious than the F-150 is. I like the braking. It stops the truck without a problem. It's very comfortable. It's smooth. It actually doesn't feel like it leans too much, but it does actually give you a bit of notification that, hey, I'm gonna lean. And
when you push it too hard in the corners, it definitely warns you that, hey, you're kind of overdoing it. So it warns you ahead of time to, slow down. But it's pretty good around corners, especially on these road tires.
Yeah, and you know what? It is more refined than the F-150, I must say.
The problem with the road tires is, their manners are very good on road, but off road, you're not going to be going very far, are you?
No, and that's why mine has all-terrain tires on it.
Still, though, yours is an FX4 package, which is the off-road package, and those tires are not knobby enough for like real off-roading.
True.
Like, you'll do some basic mud or rough terrain, but you're not gonna do any like ruts or anything like really challenging.
No, but if you go to the cottage and you go off road and you want traction, it'll do
For
the
sure.
job.
This will probably do the same though, even on the road tires, until you get like a bulge in the back tire, which this
True.
one has one. Another thing which your truck has over mine is the transmission.
10-speed automatic on mine.
8-speed here, but you know what? I think both of them are equally refined. They're very smooth.
Well, I do notice the gearbox does shift and find the gear appropriate for how much you're pressing the pedal. Mine isn't as quick, but when it does find it, it takes off. So
Yeah.
I did notice that about this truck, and it actually does it quite well.
But your truck has a much more immediate surge of torque when you go on the throttle.
True.
So finding the right gear is a bit more challenging. This one is very linear, so I think this gearbox has an easier job to do.
Yep.
Speaking of throttle, which truck is faster?
Probably yours.
Let's find out.
So since I lost the drag race, let's see whose running boards come out faster. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm gonna ask you this. How much gas did you use?
I knew that was going to be the next question, and a lot. So in the city, which I drove this mostly, I averaged about 21 liters per 100 kilometers.
Oh!
It's winter and it's cold. On the highway, I did about 15-ish, which
That's
is
not
not
bad.
that bad. And it's regular unleaded, which helps because
That's
it's
not
cheaper.
bad. Yeah.
What about yours?
So, I mostly did highway driving, so not really a fair comparison, but while I was in the city, I did about 80K and I was averaging about 12.1 liters per 100, which I think is pretty damn good.
For a truck of that size? Killer.
But on my way down to St. Catharines, I was averaging 9
On the highway?
on the highway.
Wow.
Now that's awesome.
Yep. That's like passenger car territory.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So, granted, it's a diesel.
Yep.
Can't really compare the two, but for what it is, this is actually pretty nice.
So why don't we jump in your truck and see what that has going on for it?
Sure.
You have massaging seats, you bastard? Oh, yes. Oh, right there.
Okay, this isn't foreplay. Can you start driving?
No. Oh. Right off the bat, I'll tell you, I like your steering wheel more than mine. The leather is plushier and thicker, and the abscess of that shiny surface is actually nicer.
Yeah.
Because my steering wheel, when you put the heated function on, it gets really hot, especially
Yeah.
that top part.
Now, you do notice though that once you got in, you don't have all the chromy flashiness in this, right?
This is a more utilitarian truck. I mean, immediately you notice that the buttons are bigger, which means, you're expecting people with thick fingers to be pressing these buttons,
Or you've got gloves on.
or gloves on. You have like round knobs for most things instead of buttons.
And look,
And you have,
I got a plug.
a plug.
Do you have a plug?
I do in the back.
No. It is roomy. This is the Super Crew.
I think it's as roomy as the other one. You might have a little bit more headroom because I think the cabin is a bit more square.
Yes.
So I
I'd
think
agree with you on that.
headroom is slightly better. Legroom seems to be the same.
Yep. Just as big in both. I give them good marks for both.
The seat, however, I think your seat is more comfortable than mine.
Yeah, it's more plushier. It's
Yeah.
softer, and your butt
Feels like I'm
engages
in a
into it.
lazy boy chair, and plus it's giving me a massage, so
Yeah.
full points there.
Oh, hang on.
I immediately feel that this is made for work because the window, the slopiness that goes down so you can see closer to the truck. It feels like a heavier duty truck compared to the Ram. And I think that's because it's supposed to do work. Because
You'll notice the knobs are all more bulkier and plasticier. They're more reinforced. They're They're just made so you can grip it better. So when you're in the middle of something or you're towing something, you can grab it and grip that button and move it from 2 high to 4 high or 4 low. It's also got, on the left, if you notice, there are lights. So if you're in the dark, you want to light the place up.
Mine has that too.
Oh.
The one thing that is different is obviously I have the round knob for the gear selector.
Did you say shellac?
Selector.
Yeah.
You have a regular gear shift lever, which is like big. The thing I do like is that the gear limiter, because this plus minus switch, it's not like a paddle shifter or sequential shifting thing. It's actually to limit your gear selection when you're towing something. Let's say you're about to go uphill, you can tell the car, hey, don't shift into third, stay into second, because then we're going to stall. Mine is on the steering wheel. And
you have paddle shifters?
No, it's actually a button, like a cruise control style button, which is kind of weird. I like the buttons on the shifter here. They're much more easy to understand. It's good. What's the DM for?
Drive mode. So this can go from sport to slippery / snow mode to tow mode to sport mode. Push it.
This thing really boogies. It's really punchy off the line. I feel that despite the just 250 horsepower, but it has 440 pound-feet of torque?
440 pound-feet of torque, 250 horse. You got
wow. 10-speed automatic. Okay, so this thing, performance-wise, definitely doesn't suffer. It's fine. Okay, it boogies. But the one thing I will tell you that I beat you over in exhaust mode.
Oh.
I mean,
yours sounds like a car.
The Hemi, even though it's quieter in the Ram versus like last generation, it's still much better sounding than this. Like much.
I meant to say beast.
You meant to say ballers truck.
Ballers. Let's see how much of a worker's truck yours is. How much can you tow? I can tow 13,200 pounds.
12,750.
Beat you. What about payload?
2,300 pounds.
Well, I've got 3,200 pounds.
That's a good difference.
Yep.
But that's the big deal about this diesel, right? This is like the towing and hauling kind of motor. Right?
They've re-engineered the engine so it can be much more reliable, be much more robust. They've made it to be the worker's truck.
I heard they used industrial grade materials to build it, like the block and everything.
They did. If I could remember what those materials were, I'd tell you.
It's like magnesium and some high strength steel and stuff like that. Ford tough.
Your truck's definitely more pretty. I got to give it to you.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you. Looks for you is bang on. You win in that category.
Except the wheels. The wheels, once you notice something about them, they look really funny. The problem with both of our trucks is that both of them don't seem really capable off-road. Because when I think about truck, I mean, we both have the 4 low modes, so the crawling and shit, but I don't feel that any of them would really do very well off-road. And the reason is, we don't have mechanically locking rear differentials or front. So it's all electronic if you opt for them. And I don't know, my truck doesn't have it, and I think yours has the electronic locking version of it. But with these tires, you're not going very far.
Nope, don't think so either.
So what I observed with my truck, and I think probably applies to yours, is how much is your truck?
72 grand.
72,000 Canadian? Okay, so if you can afford north of $70,000 Canadian, you can afford to have a separate set of wheels, right? Rims and tires.
Sure.
Knobby ones for off-roading. So if you really want to go off-roading, you need tires. That's what touches the ground. That's what makes you go and stop and not get stuck.
True.
So buy an extra set of tires if you get any of these trucks. So who's going to buy this car? Because I'm fully picturing a ranch owner getting one of these that he likes a nice, luxurious-ish kind of vehicle, but also has to do some work.
Contractors love these cars.
Yeah, and they make money, so they can buy one.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at all the stuff they've got to haul around day to day, they've got to put stuff in the back, they've got a crew.
Just don't leave your valuables inside these trucks, because they are the #1 most stolen trucks in Canada or North America.
No, this one is the most stolen truck in North America.
Yeah, the F-150, right?
Yeah.
So just insure it, and if it goes missing, oh well, get another one. I have to say that this thing is a tad firmer than mine, but with the sport mode on, it adds that little drama. It actually feels like it handles very well.
It does take the corners very well. You will notice that there's not a lot of cabin noise either. It is a little bumpier than yours. Yours is a bit more comfortable, but that's where the sportiness comes into this one a bit more. I wouldn't even say sportiness, but...
The steering is heavier.
Yes.
Absolutely heavier, so it feels more involving to drive, dare I say.
You're a bit more connected, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, if my truck is on this side of the spectrum, it's like the most comfortable, luxurious, reliable, ballers kind of truck. At least in the limited trim, right? You get a Rebel, it's probably different. And the Tundra is on the complete opposite side. It's like the oldest, most rugged, heavy, workhorse kind of thing. I think yours is bang in the middle. I think it has both flavors. So it's comfortable and luxurious and it feels modern, but it still feels able to do something.
Sure.
I mean, okay, the Ram is also very able to do lots of things, but it feels softer. It feels like it goes to work wearing like Armani clothes.
You know what it feels like? The type of dude that sits there and puts cream on his hands to soften them up.
Speaking of hands, see, for this infotainment and buttons, you can have dirty hands and dirty fingers, whatever. In the Ram, I kind of felt that I had to go for a manicure because every time I touched the screen, it felt, you know,
greasy.
I was abusing it. It was like, it felt like a luxury car. I give my truck a 9 out of 10 because it's freaking awesome. And I love it.
This is a worker's truck, not a luxury. Well, it is a luxury, but it's still a worker's truck. That's the point of this truck. Yours is also a bit of a worker's truck, but it's more of a day-to-day driver, more luxurious.
I would say the bias is mine is like 70% baller, 30% worker, and yours is 30% baller, 70% worker.
Yeah, I give it that. Yeah. I mean, overall score, though, I'd say from a worker's perspective, I give mine a 9 out of 10, and yours is an 8.5 out of 10. But if I look at it from a day-to-day driver perspective, I give yours a 9 out of 10 and mine an 8.5 out of 10.
I give yours an 8.9 out of 10.
Really?
Because I think they're very close. They're just different flavors, but I think this one balances everything a little bit better. I do think that if the Ram was on different tires, it would have felt very different. On the road, completely 100% road tires, it feels the way it does. So, you know, if you try like a Rebel, then I'm sure the scale is gonna, you know, tilt the other way around. But the way it is, I love that truck. I really like it, the Ram. If I was gonna pick between these two, I'd pick the Ram.
Me too. I'm in the same boat. So looks like we agree on the winner.
Yep.
This is a worker's truck. Yours is a luxury tug.
Tug. It's a tug. I'll never fart as much as you do.
That's true.
None of these two trucks have an ionizer, so they're not Steve safe.
But it's got a big sunroof.
Big sunroof for ventilation.
You could release the poisonous gases from inside.
Unless it's winter and the sunroof is full of snow, then you can't open it.